Okay, just sorting a few bits out for the stream. So we're going to be heading from London Gatwick, which is where we are at the moment, up to Leeds Bradford. Once we're there, we're going to turn around and then head back down to London Heathrow instead. So a little bit different to what I normally do. Just pop in some tags and links and things on all over Discord and things. So that'll do, I think. So we're going to be using the Lambourne 1 Zulu departure, but I'm going to help you guys. Well, I'm going to show you how I would go about planning all of that anyway. Those of you who are used to joining me on the channel, then you'll have probably already seen how I do things, and I hope you guys find it useful. So if I go into sharing my screen, I've gone ahead onto SimBrief and I've generated a flight plan. Which shows a Lambourne 1 Zulu departure via Brooklyn Park, and then we turn left, head north up to Trent, which is near Manchester. Where is it? TNT. Is that TNT? There we go. There's TNT, or Ashbourne, Matlock, Wales, and Stoke, Nottingham. Head up to Manchester and then we turn right to Leeds Bradford, but SimBrief being SimBrief isn't working as well as it used to, and it's given us more directs as well, so we can just find the most suitable arrival for our route. So I'll just have a look on ChartFox, and interestingly it doesn't have any on there. I wonder if Vatsim have got UK have got a EGNM. I wonder if they've got a Leeds Bradford page. No, unfortunately not. Okay, well we'll fill out all of this and then we'll see what we get from the sim itself. I haven't tuned into Gatwick ground yet, because it can be quite difficult sometimes to be to try and talk and explain things and have the tower shouting over you. So here we are at the start of our MCDU input, and we're going to fly EGKK / EGNM. Goes into the top right, and we return there, and our call sign, or our flight number rather, is FL597, but it's actually UKV 597. And I think SimBrief gave us 240 as a flight level. Nice short, sort of 1 hour legs, 1 hour flights for us, which is always quite nice. That way we can turn around and fly back as well, what we're doing. So that's telling us we need 5,708 kilos of fuel, but that's because SimBrief in its infinite stupidity is giving us a diversion to London Heathrow. So I'll just change that. What I will actually do is I'll have a look to see if I could look to see if there's any stars. In fact, I know where I can check for that. Okay, so even it's 4,706 kilos of fuel. So what I'll do for the zero centre of gravity is turn all the fuel settings to 0, and I'll set my weight and balance of the aircraft. That'll do, nice and quick and easy. So we've got a Mach there of 22.44, that's our zero fuel weight centre of gravity. and then I'll go ahead and put in the correct amount of fuel that we're going to need. What was it? 4706. It's close enough. 4716. So that's a nice rounded gross weight. So to get our ZeroFuel weight, all we do is we get a gross weight down at the bottom here, which is 60 tonnes, and we take away our fuel on board, which is 4.7 tonnes, so that's 55.3. So that goes into the scratch pad, and then we need to go / and our fuel weight centre of gravity of 22.44, and that'll round itself up, and we insert it in the top there. And our block fuel is our fuel on board, 4,700 kilos. So 4.7, enter. And we can do other things here, so we can add in the trip wind there. If we've got a headwind or a tailwind, we can amend that, for example, but we won't need to bother with that today for the purposes of this. I've gone and put flaps 1 and flex 2 temp of 61 degrees, and what you should do as well at that point is refresh the V speeds. There we are, so you can see that it's recalculated lower V speeds for us, which is important. Those of you who are new to the page, welcome. I hope you find it useful. If you've got any questions, just fire them over to me on live chat, and I'll do my best to answer them where I can. You know what would be really helpful is if I align the IRS. We're on ground power. And I'll go ahead and turn the APU on as well. Done fueling, so I'll put the seatbelt signs on. Interesting, that's not wanting to come on. Have we got the external power? Just recycle this because something's been a bit funky. We're testing a pull request for the A32NX project, so we're not testing we're not flying the dev version or anything like that. There we go, that's a bit better. We're flying a test pull that's not actually in the master, so we do get a few problems every now and again that we just need to work out. So let's go ahead and build our flight plan. We know from looking at vPilot's ATIS, I can just bring it up for you guys if I refresh it. Gatwick information X-ray, runway in use is 08 right. So we can go and select that. And it said we wanted the Lambourne 1 Zulu departure on SimBrief, which we can see there. So we'll go ahead and select that. And what we'll do actually is put our nav display into plan mode. So you can see that it's built that departure for us, our standard instrument departure. And now with the latest additions to the A32NX, we can just come back into a temporary flight plan, find Lambourne, and we know the next one was Lima 10 for an airway. So we can go into airways, Lima 10, just double check that is correct. Yeah, Lima 10 to Brooklands Park. BPK, which you'll recognise if you fly into Heathrow regularly on the sim. And then we've got November 601 to Mbor. That's gone in there. Hello AD boy, good to see you tuning in again. And you see there we've got Mbor now, it's built all the way up to there, which is good. And then Q4 to Trent. And that's just TNT. November 57 to Denbigh. and then it's just telling us direct to Leeds, which we know is not correct, but we'll go ahead and insert that, and that will build a flight plan for us. There we go. So let's go ahead and look, and wonder if there's any. Okay, we haven't got any of that. So on vPilot you can type in on the chat line .metar EGNM, and it will give you 9th at 13. Okay, so this METAR was generated 7 minutes ago. Perfect. And you can see that the wind is 120 at 5 knots. So we're going to ILS runway 14. So we've got a lot of different options for approaches, so we'll go ahead and select that. And you can see there we've got no star, but then there's one there for Trent arrivals, and we are flying in from Trent. So we'll go and click that. And then it says via LBA, which is actually Leeds Bradford. So it's asking us if we are going to overfly the airport. But let's click no vias and just insert that. We'll see what that looks like on our flight plan. So I'll just zoom in a bit more so we can see the finer details of the plan itself. Leicester Embor, Trent, Tiphill, Denbigh. Goody good. Then it returns us to Trent because we've obviously broke something. And then it's doing that funky business over the airport. Well, that's fine. If that's the only thing we can do and we can't find any stars for it, then we'll have to do it like that. Let me just try and find... so Trent, Tiphill, Denbigh. And I want to clear one of these. So let's clear. What have we got multiple of? Got 2 Denbighs and 2 Trents. So let's get rid of that one. Let's get rid of that one. There we go. See, we'll insert that. And we'll just see if that's fixed the little problem we found there. Down to Embor, Trent, Tiphill, Denbigh, overfly Leeds Bradford, and then round towards the hills for a short funnel approach. That'll do, I think. Probably as good as we can get for that route. What was the latest information for Gatwick? Our QNH was 1019. Let's go ahead and tune into Gatwick ground 121.8. And then I'll get the tower frequency in standby as well, 124225. There we go. I'll put predictive wind shear on, and I'll put the TCAS system on as well. Trent's at 6,000 altitude, so I'll stick that on as well. So I'll just make sure I've not missed anything at the top. Evac alarm for the purser and the crew as well to activate that. So that's probably as prepped as we can get. So my model matching tool's working a little bit better today. So we've got some EasyJet, Austrian, British Airways, load more EasyJet there behind us, which is good to see. And we need to file our flight plan into vPilot. So I'll go ahead and take it from SimBrief, and then we'll open the dialog box for the flight plan inside vPilot, and we want departure EGKK, destination EGNM for Leeds, and alternative diversion airport of
42 X-ray request taxi.
Manchester. And it gives you an airtime there of 41 minutes on SimBrief.
42 X-ray taxi, Golf 1 via Papa and Juliet. Papa Juliet 3 Golf, sorry, Juliet 1, Papa Juliet, Shuttle 4 Extra.
And then we'll go ahead and just paste that in, and we'll file that as is.
Kilo 42 Charlie, follow the company Juliet 1
yeah,
via
if you,
Papa and Juliet.
Have a little look on the description, I believe it should be there. I've got the link to my model matching tool, which you can download for free. Okay, so we can get rid of SimBrief for now. And what I do want to do is bring up the charts for Gatwick. So on Chart Fox, I bring up the main aerodrome chart, and I take that and expand it into its own window. And we need Lambourne for runway 08. There we go, where we go. So we go to the 08 bits and Lambourne 1 Zulu. There we go. And we'll open that one in its own tab as well. And that's all we need for that. So we can go chartfox.org/EGNM. And we can actually get the aerodrome charts ready for that as well, so it's just less work to do when we're flying. I'll rotate everything ready as well, so it's less for me to do. And we're expecting the ILS for runway 14, Cat C. So you can see there is, it does involve overflying. So if I draw on a map here, roughly where we're going to be heading from. Trent's down here somewhere, we're going to be flying in.
Good afternoon, ground, requesting IFR as filed.
Like so. Something like that anyway.
Austrian 2606, Gatwick ground, good
Gatwick's ground chart.
Check your flight plan there, I'm not seeing anything.
We are here, just by the air bridge, a little red circle. We're expected to taxi underneath the air bridge, onto Papa, down Papa, probably then Alpha November, hold at Alpha 3.
Romeo, contact Gatwick Tower 124.225.
That's what I'll assume, but we'll see what we get when we get our clearance.
Tower 124.225,
Nice and busy.
25, ready for push and start.
So we know for our clearance,
stand 571, push and start approved.
we are going to be cleared by the Lambourne 1 Zulu,
825.
and we need to have a pen ready to write down a squawk code for the transponder. Lambourne 1 Zulu, wasn't it? Yeah, good. So let's go ahead and get our clearance for that then. Actually, we probably won't be taxiing under the bridge because I've just realised
2606 requesting IFR
we're not taking off from runway 26.
Ground.
So it's probably going to be Pushback, Lima,
Austrian 2606,
Romeo,
stand by, I'll send you a reroute.
down there, and we're going to hold somewhere at the bottom here. Juliet 2, Juliet 3. So APU's available. It's been on for a little while, to be fair. And I'll just start the LukeAirTool as well. I've just updated this. And we'll use the British Airways stuff, I think. This is free on flightsim.to as well currently, although he is already now saying that it will become payware soon. And I'll just check, because there's been a little delay. I'll check.
42 X-ray, contact Gatwick Tower 124.225, bye bye.
So it's information Yankee now.
Go 42 Charlie, contact Gatwick Tower 124.225, bye bye.
QNH 1019 still.
Charlie.
Gatwick ground, good afternoon, Skyways 597 at stand 112, Airbus A320neo with information Yankee, QNH 1019, request IFR clearance to Leeds.
Skyways 597, Gatwick ground, good afternoon, cleared Leeds Bradford, Lambourne 1 Zulu departure, squawk 2172.
Clear to Leeds Bradford, Lambourne 1 Zulu departure, squawk 2172 for Skyways 597.
Skyways 597, correct.
There we go. So we are cleared, and because we're on ground already, we can go ahead and whenever we're ready, we can tell him we request push and start. And he'll tell us push and start facing west likely, so we'll be facing off in the direction of the maintenance buildings and the tower.
Austrian 2606, so is the flight plan okay, or?
Austrian 2606,
let's get the beacon on.
you filed
Because we're ready
currently
to go.
for
And I'll
instruction.
just make sure
The Detling 1
Pushback
Alpha
Express
is
is
a
ready.
arrival star into a London TMA, normally Luton or Stansted
And we're recording the flight as well
so
for
I'm not entirely
my
sure you've
virtual
routed it. I'm
airline
going to have to send you
career.
a complete new reroute, so I'll send that to you now.
Negative. We filed the wrong airport, sorry.
Ah, that's why it's confusing. Where would you like to go, Austrian 2606?
Austrian 2606 would like to go to Echo Golf Sierra Sierra.
Stansted.
Austrian 2606, that makes much more sense to me, thank you. You are cleared to Stansted on the Frame 1 X-ray departure, correction, Frame 1 Zulu departure, terminating at Detling, squawk 2726.
Just make sure the
cleared to Stanford via the
doors are closed and things.
One
For some
Zulu
reason,
departure, squawk 7626.
Pushback Express is
Austrian
stopped
2606,
working.
correct, your cruise will be
So I need
flight level
to
80.
21 minutes? No way.
Flight level 80 for Austrian 2606.
There we go. Now it's getting rid of it. Goody. So we've got countdown there, 46 seconds. Pushback Express has got a little bit buggy lately. I think the LukeAirTool is available for any simulator. I think it's just it's a standalone app that you put onto your own Windows.
To Copenhagen, information
And there's loads of different airlines already for you to choose from. EasyJet's very good. It's got a lot of announcements for that.
Austrian 8902, go ground, good afternoon, cleared Copenhagen, Frame 1 Zulu departure,
Let's
squawk
get rid of the
0470.
external power, and then we'll get pushback. Just let this guy get his clearance sorted out.
To Copenhagen via Frame 1 Zulu departure, squawk 0470, Austrian 8902.
Austrian 8902, correct, give me an H101 now.
Gatwick ground, Skyways 5907 at stand 112, ready for push and start.
Skyways 5907, stand 112, push and start approved, face west.
Push start approved, face west for Skyways 5907.
Easy 825,
Ground. Go ahead, flight deck.
We are ready for pushback
and
Quebec
engine start.
Alpha, Quebec,
Roger.
hold
Release
shot
the
Juliet.
parking brakes, please.
Quebec Alpha,
Parking brakes
Quebec,
released.
also Juliet,
Pushing
Easy
back.
825.
Engine 2 start.
Austrian 2606 requesting push and start.
So he's asked us to push start facing west. Let's go to drone view actually.
Stand 27, push and start approved,
We'll have a
face west
tinkle of that.
on Juliet.
Face west on Juliet, Austrian 2606.
Austrian 2606, when able, squawk 2726.
Squawk 2726, sorry, we forgot.
No worries.
So have when you get your pushback, have everything ready to go so that once your pushback is approved, you can get things moving. So you're not just sat still on the stand for a little while, especially when it's really busy as well.
You are cleared behind AE. Start your engines at your discretion.
And what we'll do is we'll start the British Airways safety demonstration just after we start taxiing as well. We'll do a COVID announcement in the meantime.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to COVID-19, we would like to remind passengers that you have to wear a face mask at all times during this flight. If you require a new face mask, please ask one of our crew members for one. Thank you.
That's engine 2 started. We can see that it's stable as well. So we'll get engine 1 kicking into life. We're using Unreal weather as well, but it's become extremely buggy the last few weeks, so I may stop using it during the flight. Just try and steer us onto the yellow line. The Gatwick Airport scenery is freeware on flightsim.to. I think that's version 5.5 at the moment. I've been following the guy from version 1, and it's definitely my favourite mod on the sim, except for the A32NX, of course.
Pushback complete. Set
Quebec ground, C8474-121, we are ready for push and start.
Roger.
Maybe show you guys actually.
74, Gatwick ground, good
We'll see you on the left side with the
Let's
head.
put see-through glass in,
We're set for face west, DC8474.
Have a good flight. See you later.
so you can look out. Same with the tower as well, so you can look through the glass in the tower and you can see everything going on around you. It's pretty awesome. I do like it a lot. So we've got engine 1 is available now and stable, so we'll go engine mode norm, and hopefully this bug's fixed because we turned the crossfeed off yesterday and then very quickly lost an engine. Put the taxi light on. and we'll have a little look at the charts when we get our taxi clearance. That's Skyways 597, request taxi.
Skyways 597, hold position.
Hold position, Skyways 597. So we know we're going to get taxi to 08 right. But on a piece of paper we'll have, we know we're going to go on Lima. The easiest would be Lima, Quebec, Juliet, hold at Juliet 3. Or Juliet 1.
Austrian 2606, ready to taxi.
Austrian 2606, taxi Juliet, hold short Quebec.
Let's see.
Austrian 2606, taxi Juliet, hold short Quebec.
I wonder if boarding audio works yet.
Austrian 892 requesting pushback and start.
Austrian 892, stand 16, push that approved, face west.
Why are we holding position still?
Push and start approved face west, Austrian 892.
Easy 825, continue Golf 1 via Juliet.
I can only think maybe we're waiting for him, but
Continue Golf Juliet,
he's out of the way now.
Skyways 597, taxi Quebec, hold short Juliet.
Taxi Quebec, hold short Juliet, Skyways 597. So, he's told us to
8474, request taxi.
taxi Quebec, hold short Juliet.
8474, hold short correction, hold short Quebec.
So Quebec 1,
So,
that's where we're going to be going.
8474.
Go flaps 1,
8474, taxi Kilo, hold short Quebec.
and I'll get rid of
Kilo short of Quebec, 8474.
that. Pushback Express, and we'll play the safety demonstration if it works today. Yeah. And while we do this, we'll get parts of the aircraft all set up ready. Turn left onto Quebec.
We're now going to explain the emergency procedures on this British Airways aircraft. The captain and the crew are here for your safety. It is important
Heathrow ground, good evening. Sir, 4350, request aircraft clearance to destination to Frankfurt. We are on the gate 417 now. Information aircraft.
Aeroflot 357, contact Heathrow 118.5.
118.5, thanks. That was the
Easy 353, contact Gatwick Tower 124.225, bye bye.
We'll provide extension seatbelts, for instance.
Easy 825, contact Gatwick Tower 124.225, bye bye.
Tower 124.225, bye bye.
Thank you very much.
West Park, good. So yeah, we can see Quebec 1 just coming up here. Because the Austrian aircraft there has got right of way.
Inflate your life jacket when you leave the aircraft. We will supply life
Austrian 2606, continue Golf 1.
Austrian 2606, continue Golf 1.
That was 597, give way to the Austrian A320 passing left to right, taxi Juliet, hold Juliet, please.
Give way to the Austrian taxiing right to left and taxi Juliet 1 by Juliet, Skyways 597.
That was 597, negative, hold short Golf.
Hold short Golf, Skyways 597.
Austrian 2606, could you please repeat where we need to go?
Austrian 240, correction, Austrian 2606, continue Juliet, hold Golf 1.
Hold Golf 1, Austrian 2606.
Golf 1's here. Lovely. So give way to that chap.
Move the handle in the direction of the red arrow. Opening the doors automatically inflates the evacuation slide.
And then we're going to go down to Juliet 6 Golf, and then hold at Golf 1. So all of this doesn't exist for us there.
As you leave the aircraft, inflate your life jacket by pulling the red tag. If necessary, blow into this mouthpiece to top up the air. The life jacket is fitted with a light and a whistle.
And ground shade 474, yeah, short of Quebec. Easy 8474, my apologies, taxi MCK. Are you able to Foxtrot Romeo for departure? Affirmative, so we can take Fox Romeo, shade 474. Easy 8474, taxi Quebec, Juliet Tango, 26 right, hold short, Foxtrot Romeo.
So if I know we're going on a bit of a straight line, I'll just zoom in.
And then Tango, and then via the runway 08 left.
Golf there, just where that line is.
474.
Austrian 2606, contact Tower 124.225, bye bye.
124.225, Austrian 2606, bye bye.
We've got Tower ready, 124.225 we have. And then it potentially 126.825 afterwards. Just jotting on my piece of paper a few little bits so I don't forget certain elements.
It must be put on the seat in front of you or in an overhead locker, but place items in the locker carefully, as they may fall and injure someone. As we prepare for takeoff, please make sure that your tray table is put away.
Austrian 892, requesting taxi.
Please play your individual video screen and footstool.
Austrian 892, taxi Juliet, hold short, Quebec.
If you have any questions, please ask your crew.
No, that's good timing, safety damage just ending.
Juliet, hold short, Quebec, Austrian 892.
So we're just approaching taxiway Golf. We'll get told to switch to Tower in a second. You can see Golf there actually. That's hotel. Yep, there we are, so it's just behind the Austrian. He's not told us to change the tower yet, so what I might do is preempt that and just ask him. Skyway's 597 is holding Golf 1.
Skyway's 597, my apologies, Tower 124.225, bye bye.
No problem, met Tower 124.225 for Skyway's 597, see you soon, bye. One 126.825 potentially. So we'll get that ready and Gatwick Tower, hello, Skyway's 597 holding at Golf 1 ready for departure.
Skyway's 597, Gatwick Tower, hello, thank you.
Just let him know that we're here and we get our cabin ready now.
Austrian 2606, runway 08 right, clear takeoff, wind 160 degrees, 2 knots.
Austrian 2606, clear takeoff, runway 08 right.
Skyway's 597, behind is departing Airbus 321. Line up runway 08 right behind.
Behind the departing Austrian, line up and wait behind Skyways 5907. So line up and wait just means exactly that, line up on the runway so that you're ready to go, and then you wait. To ease up, and they'll give us about a minute or so of spacing. Just make sure my nose wheel's straight.
Easy 8474, Gatwick Tower, are you with me?
Tower Easy 8474, you're ready at Fox Romeo.
Roger, you can taxi Honey Point Golf 1 if you wish, hold at Golf 1.
Okay, so we'll hold Golf 1 Easy 8474.
So we get takeoff clearance, we'll press the chrono there that I've just highlighted.
Question 2606, Gatwick Director 126.825, bye-bye.
We've got that frequency ready as well.
126.825, Austrian 2606, bye-bye.
Very shortly we should get our takeoff clearance. They try and space you sort of 2 minutes apart.
Skyways 597, runway 08 right, cleared takeoff, wind 160 degrees, 6 knots, 2 knots.
Clear takeoff, Skyways 5907.
Easy 8474, behind you departing A320, line up runway 08 right behind.
That's
departing
Toga.
terrific line of weight behind
flex.
Easy 8474.
Don't really need Toga. Approaching that V1 speed now. V1 rotates. Slight crosswind.
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
That's one of the things that we're testing at the moment, and it is being fixed. What I would like to see is the ability to actually select an airspeed.
Austrian 892, Gatwick Tower, across approved, taxi Honey Point Golf 1.
We'll try and get it to hold 225 knots or so.
Skyways 597, Gatwick Director 126.825.
Gatwick Director 126.825, thank you, have a good day. Skyways 597, bye.
Bye, same to you, thank you. Break, easy 84.
Easy 1460, turn right, heading 180 degrees.
So now we need to tell them what departure and what altitude.
Turn right 18, 0 degrees, can you confirm?
Slow down this stupid open descent, open climb.
Easy 1460, A firm, heading 180 degrees.
Gatwick Director, good afternoon, Skyways 597, passing 5,000 on a Lamborn 1 Zulu departure.
Skyways 597, Gatwick Director, hello. Squawk ident, climb now, flight level 130.
Squawk ident and climb now, flight level 130, Skyways 597.
Austrian 2606, afraid there's no further ATC,
So
so
press the ident button,
122.8, bye bye.
and I'll press it on V-Pilot as well.
122.8, Austrian 2606, bye bye.
It's told us flight level 130, so
Easy
we
1460, continue the right turn, heading 270
can
degrees.
put our standard pressure on
Right turn, 270 degrees, easy 1460.
Now the LukeAirTool as well, some of the airlines, it's not on the BA1, but if I take EasyJet for example, there's an after takeoff announcement.
Director, good afternoon, EG8474, the Seawood for Zulu passing 2100.
Ladies and gentlemen, please keep your seatbelt fastened while the seatbelt sign is on.
EG8474, Gatwick Director, hello. Squawk ident, climb now, flight level 170.
Toilets are located.
Squawk ident, climb 170, EG8474.
Smoking is not permitted at any time. This includes e-cigarettes. In just a few
Skyway 597, can't see any traffic to affect you. Unicom 122.8, bye-bye.
of fresh food available today.
Unicom 122.8, Skyways 517. Thank you for your services, have a good day.
And also purchase selected hot beverages together with drinks and snacks from the bar. We accept payments in pounds, euros, most major currencies.
EG1460, continue the right turn heading 280 degrees, descend to altitude 3,000 feet.
If we can give any further assistance,
Confirm 28, heading 280, descend 3,000.
So we're on Unicom, it's down to us to navigate and everything else. I think our climb was 240, I think our altitude for cruise was, from memory. Let's have a little look. 240. That'll do. Now what we can do is we can go into the MCDU menu, ATSU, AOC menu, and we can do ATIS, so EGNM, arrival. We'll see if anything comes out of this, because it's not actually an open airfield on Vatsim. So on that basis we shouldn't get any information. But we'll get a company message here. It might be blank. There we go, company message. So go to receive messages, new ATIS, and there we are. ATIS not available. And that's because there's no Vatsim ATIS information yet. But you can change the settings. So on options, you can go on to ATIS source, and you can choose like Pilot Edge, IVAO. I'm not sure if Pilot Edge works. Let's give that a go and have a little look what comes up if we do another ATIS request. So EGNM into the top left, format for MCDU, send, and then we'll wait for the company message again. I don't envisage this is going to work, but I'm just sort of trying a few little bits. Company message received. DACE is not available. Okay. That's fine. That's what we expected because we knew that there wasn't any air traffic control on at the moment. I've enabled free text as well, so any aircraft using the A32NX that are online as well can send me messages and vice versa. It's quite nice. We'll go ahead and think about maybe looking to plan for some of that. Got just passing London very shortly. You see London City just off in the 9 o'clock by the cursor. London City Airport. And what we'll do is we'll have a little look at, we need to put the landing lights off because we're above 10,000, and we're going to be flying straight now pretty much, so we'll go ahead and turn the seatbelt signs off as well, shall we? So very briefly, I'm going to have a little look elsewhere online to see if I can locate any decent looking charts for Leeds Bradford, and I'm just going to close all of my charts for Gatwick because we don't need those. Where else could there be charts? I'll just go directly to the NATS AIP. I'm not sure if there are any charts or any any stars actually, sorry. I don't know if there are any stars for... there we go, so all Leeds arrivals route direct via the Leeds Bradford NDB after their final waypoint, then are handed over to Leeds radar. So then you're probably like, well, how do we know what the Leeds Bradford MDB is? That's a fair question. LBA 425. So we go to ADF frequency, we just pop in 4025, which is the NDB. We overfly Leeds Bradford, so if I share you guys the screen again so you can see the charts. We're flying in from that red circle somewhere in the vicinity of that big messy red circle that I've just drawn all over the place. I didn't do particularly well at art, as you can probably tell. That's a bit better. So we're flying in from somewhere within that circle, and we're heading directly to that square, which is the Leeds Bradford NDB, and that's really old school. It's basically a little radar station that sends signals out to the aircraft. But we overfly that. We've got GPS on the aircraft anyway, so it's going to take us through there. And as we saw when we were planning the route, we then turn left. And we fly straight to base leg. So as you can see there, it says D9, and that's basically 9 miles from that DME marker that we overfly, LBA. And at DME 9, or 9 DME, we then turn left, and all the orange bits here are high terrain that we have to factor in and take account for as well. And you can see as well, for the base turn there's a speed limit, maximum 185 knots, so we have to keep to that as an absolute maximum speed. And you can see on the chart at the very bottom here, you can see all the high terrain drawn into the glide path chart as well. So we have to be careful of all of that. I flew into Leeds Bradford a little while ago. I wasn't using any charts at all. This is probably about 2 months ago now, and I had particularly bad weather. And it was when the A32NX was a little bit less advanced, and I ended up almost planting it into, I think it was somewhere over here, so this high terrain, almost planted it into that. And I only knew because I had the I had the terrain radar on. For the approach as well, we can check to make sure our ILS frequency is set, and you can see there it's 110.9. So we need to make sure that's programmed into the RadNav page. We can see that it is ILS 14, frequency 110.9, and that's what we want. That's in Brooklands Park almost, so we can go back to normal speed mode now, I think. And then our final approach has got a heading of 139 degrees, so that's our course for the ILS. And then you're probably thinking, well, we know actually that we have to be at 4,000 feet at that LBA DME. How do we know that? Well, at the very bottom of the ILS charts, we've got this section here. And you can see there, initial approach fix, IAF, NDB, LBA, at 4,000 feet. And then we continue a descent down, and we've got a heading there of 333 degrees. We continue all the way down to our base leg, 3,000 foot, which is at DME 9. You can see that there. Lots to take in on the charts. If you're not sure of anything, just ask a question in the comments in the live chat, and I can always go back and try and explain it in another way. We've got DME 9 at the bottom of the charts, and you can see at that point we have to be at 3,000 feet, and that's when we turn our base leg. So we actually turn the aircraft so that we then intercept the ILS and fly our final approach. And you can see at 3,000 foot on a 3.5 degree glide slope at DME 6.1, which I'm just drawing in now, we've got our final approach fix, or FAB. And that's when we should intercept the glide slope and begin our final descent as well to land. Should we have to go around for any reason, we can see on the charts the dashed line. So if I remove some of this messiness, let's see, probably a little bit clearer. If we have to go around for any reason, I'll pick green. This dashed line, you can see 139 degrees, and then we turn back on ourselves, like a figure of 8 almost. And at the very bottom of the chart it says, climb straight ahead to 2,000 feet, then climbing, so still climbing, we go straight ahead until we reach 2,000 feet, but we continue climbing to 3,000 feet, we turn right, and we fly all the way back to that LBA DME. And then we continue back to heading 333, back to DME 9, and we try our approach again. So that's what we can factor in if we have to go around. Go-arounds for me have happened quite a lot on Vatsim. And that's not because I've been chasing it, but it just happens sometimes when aircraft gets something confused or mixed up and they're not quite sure what they're doing. Very easily done, and you can end up being told to go around. So I like to have everything ready just in case. So we zoom out on our nav display and we can see Trent coming up in 80 miles. And then we'll start our approach directly towards Leeds Bradford to overfly the airport. I'll have a little peek just to see if anybody's logged on at EGNM, and they haven't. And we're currently on Unicom, so the way this works now is when we start to descend, we will call up and let everybody know basically where we are and what we're doing, so that any aircraft around us can adapt what they're doing if there's any conflict, and then we can talk to each other. Same when we're flying the approach as well. When we get towards LBA, when we're overflying the airport 3,000 feet, we'll need to let people know. There might be aircraft on the ground that are looking to take off, and they'll then know that they've got 5 minutes or so before we're on a final approach. So in doing so, it keeps things a little bit easier for us. We can manage things a bit better then. And then as well, in a way, everybody works together. So all the other aircraft as well work together for the same goal. Worth me sort of pointing out as well. I was just thinking, if I go back to the charts, if for any reason, because there's no air traffic control on at the moment, it's all down to us to decide when to start our descent, our rate of descent, our speeds, everything else, and we only get so much information from these charts. So we know that for the base turn we've got a maximum speed of 185 knots. But there's no star or anything else, and there's no information whatsoever that that sort of gives us any other speed restrictions around the airspace. We just know that we have to be under 250 knots and below 10,000 feet. So if we get, say for example we're flying in here, well I've just drawn that terrible image of a plane. There we go. If we're flying in there and we're too high, so we know that we have to be overflying the airport at 4,000 feet, but just a few miles away we're at 7,000 and we know we're not going to make it. What we can do is just fly that hold that we can see on the chart. So there's a hold at the DME, so we can fly to try and intercept that. We can fly that 319 degrees for a minute. It says there LHA, so that's the hold over the airport, 3,000 foot, 1 minute, and that's 1 minute per leg. So we'll fly straight 319 degrees for 1 minute, and then we turn left and we fly back and overfly the airport again. And during that time we can descend down to 3,000 feet or 4,000 feet to then continue down towards our final turn. But we can see that weird blue dotted line, so every airport's different. Probably better to use another colour again. I'll use green, it's contrast enough. So we're flying this direction and we're just exiting the hold at 3,000 feet for example. Now instead of flying up to DME 9, which is up here, we still fly to DME 9, but we follow these blue dotted lines. So hopefully you guys can see this. We'll follow the blue dotted line up to this DME 9, and then we turn left for our final approach at 3,000 feet. So if we've checked all of that and we review it before we get there, if anything happens that catches us by surprise, we already now have an idea of what to do. If we have to enter the hold, we know roughly how to exit the hold from the charts, and we also know how to overfly and fly the base leg as well from the charts. And so it all depends on the airport, how simple their procedures and things are. But we're not anticipating any of that, but I like to review it anyway just in case. And you can see now we are getting quite close to Trent, and then we have Denby. So what I'm actually going to do is start a descent down to flight level 150. You can see now I've got Unreal Weather, which is the freeware weather mod that I'm using, and already I'm getting lag on the system from it. And this has only been happening the last 2 weeks or so, and it's getting a little bit, it gets a little bit frustrating to be honest, because my system is powerful enough to handle it, but for some reason Unreal Weather is stealing frames and then not giving them back. It's very bizarre. So what I tend to do in this situation is I put it back on Microsoft Flight Simulator's live weather. Here we go for stupid autopilot bug. It can build all the new weather back in itself. Disengage the autopilot, engage it again so that we can bring in control of the aircraft once it's settled. And let the autopilot do its thing again, and we're back nice straight level. And descending down towards Trent. So real nice short legs for these flights today.
Experiencing traffic, Golf Sierra Whiskey in November's Diamond DA62, lining up runway 09 East Midlands.
look at some of these. Interestingly, that one is showing 1109 as well, strangely. So let's just 110.9. We'll stick that in as a VOR and we'll see what we get from that as well. Should.
East Midlands traffic, Golf India November, taking off runway 09, remaining in the parking, left traffic, East Midlands.
So he's below us somewhere. That's where Trent, Nottingham, or that's where East Midlands Airport is. Good to see the live weather being ridiculous again as always. Lightning when there's no lightning, thunderstorms. I hope they fix that in another patch soon because it's just silly some of this stuff. So we've only got 60 miles to go before we're overflying the airport. So what I do on my piece of paper, I'll quickly write down LBA 4000, 9 DME, 3000, base 185 knots max. So that way I don't need to look back at the charts to figure out what we need to do. And what I can then do is prepare for our actual landing. So we're landing runway 14 and we'll probably come off at around Delta 1 and then taxi in to the terminal. But I'll leave this chart open just in case we have to go around for any reason. And I'll continue our descent down to 9,000, I think. Leeds Bradford traffic, Skyways 597, inbound Trent descending through flight level 200, intending for 4,000 to overfly LBA. Lightning storms for no reason. So I'll put icing and things on because it's Microsoft Flight Simulator. And I'll put
East Midlands traffic,
belts on.
Golf India November, downwind, runway 09, touch and go, East Midlands.
And I'm going to manually control the speed just to try and help us out. And what I need to do is put in some data for our approach. So I'll do EGNM on METAR on vPilot, and this is data from this morning, so it's not particularly great, but I suppose it's something. In fact, what I'll do is METAR EGNM all METSAT 30 minutes ago. There we go. So we've got temperature of 12 degrees. Scribble all this down. Wind is 110 at 6 knots, 4,000, so 4 kilometres of visibility, or 4 mile visibility, and broken clouds at 600 feet in mist. So I'm going to definitely turn on the Unreal weather mod for that in that case, because I've actually turned the setting on for it to generate fog and mist and everything else. So we'll see how that goes as well, we'll test that. QNH 1018. Temperature is 12 degrees, wind 1106. Transition altitude, I think it said from the charts when I was looking, was 6,000. We'll go for a decision height of 100 foot above the airfield. So we'll put that into the DH section, and we should get all of our Crown proximity warning system callouts with that. So we've got 50 nautical miles to go before we overfly LBA. constraints. And it's going to get a little busy, so we'll go auto brake medium. We can set a few bits up for our arrival. We can't do, we can actually maybe arm the spoiler now. We might need to use it. And I'll continue our descent down to 4,000.
Traffic, Golf in November, turning onto final runway 09, touch and go, left traffic, East Midlands.
Once we pass, once we get nearer to the airfield, actually what I will do is I'll put it back onto Unreal Weather so we've got it all ready to go. And it will give it a minute or so then to pull in the latest METAR data and feed that into the sim. I'm going to put spoilers on 50%. Punch through the cloud very shortly. How far are we actually? So about 40 miles to go. So we're making some good progress. I'll put terrain mode on as well because we can't see the ground and there is high terrain. And I'll put back onto Unreal Weather. So we'll give it a minute to build all of the weather back in place. There we go. And we can actually see as well, in case you guys haven't noticed before or used this mod, on the Unreal Weather drop down, you can actually scroll down. You can see it automatically updating the METAR data as we go, and we can see what METAR it's using. So here, for example, we're closer to Manchester currently, so it's pulled in the METAR for Manchester Airport. Very similar actually, weather-wise, to what we've just read. Lower cloud base, so it's overcast at 200 feet, temporarily broken at 800 feet, sorry, overcast at 2000, broken from clouds at 1100, so it's very similar. And in a few minutes that'll update, well, it'll give us an option there to, it will say EGNM, and we can actually press the 2 arrows to force update the METAR to the latest one, which is quite a cool feature. Nice and silent from far away. We are descending on idle, passing 10,000, so we can put the seatbelt signs on. The landing lights on, sorry, rather. And what I'll do is I'll slow us down to our green dot speed, or thereabouts. Can't see the green dot speed at the moment, but if we go to our approach page, we can see our clean 204 knots. That's our green dot speed. In case you wondered. If you're new to the channel, make sure you click subscribe. And I hope the landing is okay. I'm still getting used to the new view, because it's slightly, it looks down slightly, a lot more than it did anyway before. If we can see that decel there on the flight plan, if you're not sure what that is, that basically triggers the aircraft into approach mode itself. After Denby, I think it is literally LBA, isn't it? So we've got, it's a 20-mile track to there. There's very little resistance at 50% speed brake currently for some reason, and it allows us to go to 100%, which you can't do in real life on the aircraft. But 50% doesn't seem to do anything at all, so you do occasionally need to use 100% while we have the ability to do so anyway. I'm actually going to go ahead and slow the descent down nicely now. And we're passing 7,000, so what I'll do is I'll just stick us onto our local QNH that we've got and we can bring that back to 50 and then back to 0. And then another little announcement for
Manchester traffic 9388 Romeo, turning left for runway 26 right, Manchester traffic.
Leeds Bradford traffic for Skyways 597, passing Denby 6,000 feet, descending for 4,000 feet, 20 track miles to overfly the LBA DME. And we'll have a look. We'll have a little look to see if so he's put the wrong command in there, so it actually ended up on chat. EGKK still is the METAR that they've got. So give it a minute or so and hopefully we'll get a bit closer. We should see Leeds Bradford. We should see their one. And the aircraft isn't in approach phase yet, so we'll go ahead and we can actually just select it, tell it to go into that mode. And I can then go back into managed speed. And that will now fly us down to our 203 knot green dot speed. Force me to go to flaps 1 before it allows me to go to the next speed down. Through the cloud. With a broken cloud a couple of hundred feet from the ground, it's going to be pretty much a zero visibility approach. It's just pulled in, by the looks of it, 2 minutes ago, pulled in another METAR for Manchester Airport. But in a couple of minutes we're going to be over Leeds, and it will be updating the weather at that point anyway. So all is well. So we're at 5,000 feet now, 15 miles to go. You can see on our nav display as well with terrain mode, little bits of terrain coming in on the nav display, so we're getting a bit lower to the ground now, and it's picking up on the terrain radar the high ground around us. So what we can do is just slow our descent right down. We'll go past decel because we want to be at LBA overflying the airport at 4,000 feet. So we can go ahead and just slow our descent down for a minute or two. There we go, looks like it's just updated the weather. You can see how laggy it gets when it does that, and that's just an issue with the app itself. There we are, EGNM. 4,000 foot broken, 4,000 meter visibility, broken clouds. Few at 300 feet, broken at 500 feet, 11 degrees, QNH 1018. So we can compare that. 11 degrees. That METAR was 10 minutes ago as well, so very up to date. 1108, so the wind's actually increased slightly. There we are. And that's up to date. And funnily enough, already it's now generating lag on my system. Just from me forcing the weather to pull in on the real weather. So we've got spoilers armed, auto brake on medium, and everything else. Just before we go through the cloud, we'll get the crew in the seats. All cool. We've got 10 miles now before we overfly the LBA DME. You can see there the ADF I've put in, the 402.5 is flashing and reading LBA. And I've put in DME and things as well, but that green flashing light is what we can follow. Interestingly, the VOR bit's not correct, but that's probably my own fault. So the green flashing light that we saw on the VOR tab, that green flashing arrow is actually correct from my understanding. The station sends out a signal every few seconds, and that's when the aircraft picks it up. So we can see there we're flying a straight course to the NDB. You can see all that terrain building around us, but we're underneath, it's black, so we know we're pretty clear still. One of the biggest hazards at Leeds Bradford, if you can see, actually on the approach itself, we're only a couple of 100 foot above the ground on our final approach turn. Not brilliant. So it's got a lot of hazards involved with this approach. It's quite a tough approach. I'm not sure how Concorde used to fly in with this. Concorde used to fly out of Leeds Bradford every now and again, I think, didn't it? Back in the day. Leeds Bradford traffic, Skyways 597, 3 track miles to the LBA NDB, and then I'll be following the track for ILS 14. Apparently NDBs are the most hated part of flying for pilots. Go ahead and commit to that, and we need to actually slow the aircraft down a bit more. So you can see now we're actually passing that NDB. And you can see now that arrow changes as it's tracking that station. Now the sim may go a bit wrong here. The biggest thing we've got to manage is speed. There we go. So you can see now we're actually over the station now. You can see Leeds Bradford just through that mist. In fact, straight over the runway now. Look. And interestingly, the aircraft is tracking the station. We don't want it to do that. We want it to fly to our approach fix. So from the charts it was 333 degrees from the NDB. So we'll fly that whilst we descend to 3,000 feet. And we're now at 185 knots, which was the maximum speed for that final approach turn, if you remember, from when we reviewed that. And we'll just set up the aircraft to for our landing. Following the charts quite carefully, so what I will do very shortly is turn off terrain mode. You can see now that we've overflown the NDB station. If I do turn that off, you can see that green light flashing, the green arrow. It's taking us back to the airport. Go ahead and turn that off, that terrain mode off. We will hold 3,000 feet until, in fact, if we go back onto here, it doesn't give us a distance.
2,500.
We can see LBF09, that's that 9 DME that we spoke about earlier. So it's not quite on the sim properly, but we can fly to that point, and then we know we need to turn for our final leg. You can see all that orange in front of that as well. That's the high terrain that we have to be careful of. If I go onto the charts, that's all of this here in the middle. You can see there that's only 1,000 foot above actually some of the peaks. So there's 1,591 foot above ground level for that peak there. But we're going to be at 3,000 feet. We'll get lots of ground proximity warning system callouts, but that's what we want. That's what I'm trying to test today, actually, funnily enough. Stick my ILS mode on. Turn the terrain off, so we can actually see what we're doing. And I'll just leave it at 160 knots for now. So this is going to be base leg. And we know from the charts we want 139 degrees, so we can just start to turn towards that. Leeds Bradford traffic, Skyways 5907 is left base for runway 14 at 10 miles. It's a little position report just to let other aircraft around us know what we're doing, where we are. And I'll just have a quick final check with things. I'll leave icing on because just because of the way the simulator behaves currently when it comes to icing. It doesn't like it particularly well. So we should be getting a bit of an ILS intercept coming in soon. We can see all that ground right below us, that's how low we are. Go ahead and add another stage of flaps. So flaps 3, and once we intercept the ILS I'll just go gear down and full flaps. You can see now it's starting to intercept. So I'll just arm approach mode and let us fly in. You see now our landing checklist has popped up. And I'll just monitor it very briefly so it can. We want to make sure that magenta line is dead center basically. In case we go around, we know we have to climb up to 2,000 feet and then turn right. We're going to leave the runway roughly around taxiway Delta. Go gear down and full flaps. Didn't click speed brakes, I'm not sure why that's come out. And you can see now it's about 6.5 mile DME on that chart we looked at earlier, and we're roughly 6 miles now from the airport, and we're just about to intercept the glide slope as well for our final descent. Leeds Bradford traffic, Skyways 5907, 5 miles, finals ILS, runway 14 to land. Leeds Bradford traffic. So now people on the airport will know if there are if there's anybody on the ground looking to taxi and depart, they will know that we are very close to landing, so they don't go on the runway now, because there is a bit of a backtrack involved at Leeds Bradford. So you can see we're actually slightly to the left of the centre line. If we look at the diamonds. So we get a bit closer, and if we get towards the minimums and we still can't see the runway, we probably will have to go around. What I do, just move that little wheel across so that it's in line. So our heading, little blue dial there, the heading is in line with the direction that we're flying currently. And we've got our 3,000 foot set for our missed approach. The weather seems to be clearing slightly. We should see the runway very soon, about 4 or 5 miles away. Interestingly, my button seems to have switched, so I did wonder what the hell was going on. Didn't have gear down. That's fine. You can actually see the runway just coming into view ahead of us now. And we've got 3 green on the gear anyway. So I'll actually fly this manually now because it's not quite tracking the ILS properly. It's having us too far to the left. Just approaching 1,000 foot above the ground now currently. and I'm trying to fly to the diamonds that are on the primary flight display. So we're centre, which is good, but we're slightly above the glide slopes.
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
Brilliant.
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
This is one thing we're testing
Too low,
currently.
Terrain. Too low, terrain.
And as you can see, it's not quite working
Too low,
as it should.
terrain. Too low, 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 terrain.
That's not annoying, is it?
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
So it looks like this bit
Too
needs
low,
further work.
terrain.
Nice
Too
and
low,
stable,
terrain.
approaching minimums now.
Too low, terrain. 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 Too low, terrain.
That was not annoying at all. So I'll have to put that on the report for the test. Slowing down nicely to meet taxiway Delta. And I'll take over braking. And Leeds Bradford traffic Skyways 597 is clear of runway 14, taxi to the gate via taxiway Delta. You see there's actually nobody on the ground. So this is the default scenery that we're using. Landing lights off, nose wheel onto taxi, strobes off, and we'll get the APU fired up. And there is a, on the LukeAirTool, for EasyJet at least, there's a landed announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, the cabin crew will shortly be leaving their seats to perform safety-related duties. However, we ask that you remain seated until the fasten seatbelt sign has been switched off. Portable electronic devices for messaging, calls or internet access may now be used. Please make sure.
What do you reckon? Should I return to Gatwick Airport or return to... Or should we fly to Heathrow for our turnaround?
Smoking is not permitted until you reach a designated smoking area.
That's
On
interesting.
behalf of the captain and the crew, it has been our pleasure looking after you today. Our ground crew will help you.
So the yellow line has actually gone onto the ground on the grass.
News, promotion, flight and destination information. Check out our official Facebook page, Twitter.
Yeah, let me know in the chat
Instagram.
if you prefer a return flight to Heathrow, as British Airways would do, or a return to Gatwick Airport. We'll get to the gate. I'll put our Pushback Express tool back on. I think this cost about £12 or so, but it's quite good, except for the cheesy, annoying conversations that the ground and the pilot have. So this is the gate that Sim's telling us to go to. Yeah, that's actually a very good idea. I might do that. Turning in, so I'll get rid of the lights. We've got our marshaller ahead. So we try and follow his instructions, but they're not always correct. Slow us down because we can taxi on idle. So it's a very good point. I'll get rid of that GPWS button. I'll turn it off. Wonder where this puts us if I keep following his instructions. Go brakes, and that'll be engine off. won't bother with the ground power unit, what's the point? We can turn the belts off and the beacon light off as well. So there we go. Hopefully actually we can toggle the jetway and pre-flight events. Seems to be working nicely. There we go, and that's connected. Happy days. And I just need to stop recording of the file that I've just done for the flight for flyuk. Goes into my pilot logbook, if you like, for the airline. And I'll just go ahead and quickly book the return sector. We'll do it to London Heathrow for the return. So I'll do operations flight search. We want destination EGLL and EGNM for departure. So it's going to be the Skyways. Skyways 284 is our call sign for the return. And we'll do departure at 1500. We'll do 1510. If we push back early, then it's only a good thing, obviously. So that's done. And now we need to create a new flight on SimBrief, and then because it throws issues with us, we want to actually verify that by looking at some other checks that we can use. So UKV 284 EGNM to EGLL. It's given us a Bournemouth alternate there, but I'll stick Gatwick in. Cost index of 25. Departure runway 14. So we've got BNM 4A, Pole 2X. Okay, so we can actually look at seeing whether that route is valid. We can click on Sky Vector, for example, which is what I use a lot now to check the routes. And we can have a little look on quite a cool little map. It tells us our route. It's a really short route, it's quite nice. But one thing we can do is there's a Euro control button there that I'm just highlighting, IFPS validation. If we click there, it creates this little pop-up box. We copy the flight plan, and then we go to that link at the top, and it opens Eurocontrol's public page. We scroll down and go to the free text editor. I'm just highlighting on the cursor here. And we copy that flight plan in, and we press validate. And it says validated, no errors. So that's a legit route, it's a correct flight plan. So that's how we can check. So in that instance, I'll just go ahead and generate the routes, generate OFP. And there we go. It's giving us a cruise of flight level 190. Pole 2X to Pole, direct to MCD, direct to Listo, Lima 612 airway to Honolulu, and then the Bovingdon 4 Alpha arrival. Go ahead and close that. Fetch bookings. We start recording the next our next sector. We'll head back into the flight deck. So there's quite a few questions on the A32NX Discord server where people are asking, how do you set the flight for the return home if you wanted to do additional legs? You can see there it's still got the whole route in there. Now all you have to do is go on to back to the Inish page, init A, and then we just replace the EGKK to EGNM. We type in our return, so Echo Golf November Mike slash, because we're going to Heathrow, Echo Golf Lima Lima, and then we insert that to replace it. And there we go, it's just wiped itself. No company routes, so we go return, and we can put in our new flight cruise of flight level 190. Is it 190? Maybe like a sieve today. There we go, that's a bit better. and our diversion was EGKK, so we'll go ahead and put that in as our alternative airports. We can go ahead and build the flight plan. So from EGNM, we want departure of runway 14, and it was the Pole to X-ray departure, as we can see listed on our MCDU. So we go ahead and select that, and we'll watch that get built into the nav display. There we go. So after takeoff, we turn right very quickly and head to Pole. We go back into the temporary flight plan, and the rest of the page for the flight plan were directs. Direct MCT, direct Listo. MCT is actually overflying Manchester Airport, I believe. So Pole. Next waypoint, Mike, Charlie, Tango, input, and there's loads of options, but there's only one at north 53 degrees, which is the one we want. And we can check that. If you're not sure, you can check that by looking at SimBrief, and on the chart itself, if you look, if you can see where the mouse is, we can actually see 53 degrees north, 52 degrees north, and then we can see east and west as well at the very top of this map screen. So Manchester's at 53 degrees north, it's there. 53 degrees north and 2.2 degrees west or something like that. 2.15 degrees west, there we go. So normally the very top one is the closest, but that's how you can check if you're not sure. We go to lateral revisions from MCT, and we want direct to Listo now. So we can insert that. You can see it getting added into our flight plan. And then from Listo, it was an airway. So we can go lateral revisions from Listo, and it was the Lima 612 airway to Honolulu. So we could go to the Airways tab, Lima 612, Honolulu, which is Hotel Oscar November. There we go, gives it a minute to think, and let's put Honolulu in, and then there's no more, so we can just press insert. Now from Honolulu we need our star, which is the Bovingdon 4 Alpha arrival to Heathrow. We're expecting runway 09, I think it was. There we are, so there's an aircraft there, funnily enough, good timing. 09 left is what he's landing on, so we'll go with that for our flight plan. So arrival, ILS 09 left. Bovingdon 4 Alpha, BNN 4 Alpha. So we go ahead and insert that. You can see there is input tow beard, soppit, etc. into the aircraft for us. There's a lot of odd blank spaces on here, and that always worries me on the simulator. And if it's like that, I know I'm not flying over CHT or Lambourne, I'll click no fires. Insert. And there's our return route. We can check that, zoom in and go to say 10 nautical miles on our plan tab. And we just press our down arrow. Manchester, Listo, Honolulu, Tobid, Soppit, Westcott, Bovingdon, and then this we know is incorrect. We don't overfly and then turn back on ourselves. The charts actually show that we route round from Bovingdon to intercept the ILS, so this here is totally incorrect. But there's no other way for me to sort of see how to fix that. Unless I can delete USR. I don't think we can. Let's give it a go. No. Computer says no. But when we get closer we'll use the chart, so we can just fly it manually. No big deal with that. So we need to amend our fuel and everything like that as well. Starting a new flight again. So in it, the fuel prediction and things would be different, and it's telling us our return block fuel will be 4,936 kilos of fuel. So we can open the fuel tab. He says clicking on it when nothing's happening. There we go. I'm certain this is unreal weather messing around with my sim. And we might as well just leave that as the same, 22.44, gives us less things to worry about. And we just put in our new fuel, which was 4936. So like I said, memory like a sieve, sorry. Good grief. They've got to create a better way to do this. There we go, that's pretty much exact. Down to 1 kilogram. Yeah, I've noticed the last update, oddly, it just seems to have messed. Heathrow used to be absolutely fine. Now it's just created some odd routes for the stars. I wonder actually, while we're on that tab, if I go to 20, I'll do block fuel first. That's 4.92, wasn't it? 4.9. Right, let me turn unreal weather off because it's eating up all my frames for some reason. There we go, back to it. 4.92, wasn't it? Yes, it's definitely. I'll turn it off and instantly I'll get all my frames back. Zero fuel weight is just 60.2 tons. Minus the 4.92 tons, which is 55.28. You can go ahead and just put that in. It will round itself down to 55, or 55.3 actually, which is, funnily enough, exactly the same. 22.4. So the only thing that's changed is our block fuel, I think. I think that was 4.9 as well. And there we go. That's our init page done. We can update our call sign to UKV284. And we also, I'm going to play with this actually. EGLL. So make sure if you're going to. So I'm going to look at the actual arrival route. I'm going to select one of the waypoints that keeps the runway in centre. So I'll just go runway 09 left. We can see now Bovingdon and everything else. Now I'm going to enter the arrivals tab and I'm going to click around and see what changes. To see if there's actually a 4 alpha. So if I click, okay, so that's nothing. That seems to have, that's correct. So that first blank arrow that I clicked has just fed it correctly into the charts. You know what? Insert. So it does take a bit of tinkering. You just have to go through and check things. I'll show you that on the charts actually while I think about it. chartfox.org/EGLL. Then we want the 09 left. There we are. So ignore most of the screen. We just want to look at this bit. And that's what we've just put into the MCDU, amazingly, from Bovingdon. So we fly in sort of this, like that direction. While I'm on here, that's the actual charts for Bovingdon 4 Alpha. This is the chart before the one that we're just about to look at. And we're flying in from Honolulu, which is here, down to Soppit. We have to be, I think it's flight level 150 at Soppit. Yeah, you can see there, Bovingdon 4 Alpha arrival, flight level 150 by Soppit. And then we want ILS 09 left, approach charts, because we also want to make sure the RadNav page is updated for the new approach of the new ILS at the new destination. And I'll open the aerodrome charts. Oops, fat fingers. And Terminal 5, because that's, I think, probably where we'll finish. And then we can close Chart Fox because we've got everything else we need. Go on to SimBrief, and I'll just copy that route. And we can see airtime 41, and I'll go into VPilot, and I can swap the two, so Leeds Bradford becomes our departure, and I'll just change destination to EGLL. And at alternate, we just change to Gatwick Airport, and we could do 15:10 for departure Zulu. That's in 8 minutes. Time en route 0:41. It's the exact same as before, actually. Then, and our flight cruise flight level 190. Paste the new route, and then we file again. Nice. Fetch the new route from the server. And what I'll do is I'll get rid of SimBrief because we don't need it now. We've kept our taxi charts for Leeds Bradford. We're currently at stand 7, I believe. It's very hard to tell with the AutoGen airport. Perhaps stand 5. There's a building there, but that doesn't exist on the sim. Ah, there's someone spawned in. We'll say, I think we are at stand 7. We're on Unicom, so we don't have much to worry about. We're just announcing our position as always. We want to push back facing west, I think. So we're going to push back from stand 7. We're going to face west though, because then we're going to taxi and make our way around Alpha to Alpha 1. We hold at Alpha 1, so it's a really short taxi. And then if I zoom in for you guys, Alpha 1's here. We actually have to backtrack runway 14. So we head back down to Echo, to then hold at Echo 1. So if in that time somebody announces that they're joining finals, we can hold at Echo 1. Out of courtesy, unless they're far enough away that we can do an immediate takeoff if we're ready for that. So let's go ahead. I'm actually quite chuffed with that little random discovery. RadNav page. Before I leave, I like to make sure that's set. So ILS 09 left, 1103, which is correct because that was what was on the charts. And our flex 2 temp and our flaps and things haven't actually changed either. But because we've changed the fuel and weight, we just refresh our V speeds. As you can see there, they've amended. That's interesting. There we go. QNH is 1018. We'll do initial climb to 6,000, and we can put our managed heading and everything back on again. Now, because we're not, we've actually completed the flight, we'll probably need a new squawk. Because we've got no ATC to clear our new flight plan, we need to select either transponder squawk of 2200 or 2000 for IFR on Vatsim. And then if we contact a new controller at any point during the flight, they will just simply give us a new squawk code. So EasyJet. Norwegian lot, Air France, American Airlines. We do EasyJet again. We'll do BA. We are flyuk today, so let's get our pushback ready to go. Start our return to Heathrow this time. So I'll push back express, I'll click the clock there so that our time remaining drops back to 30 seconds. That should trigger, as it has done. That triggers the air bridge to go away and the door to be closed. and our iCast then shows our door closed there on our ECAM. Check APU is on bleed anyway, so that's all ready to go. We can stick our beacon light on. There's very much a Ryanair turnaround. We need seatbelts on. Okay, there we are. It's a very short taxi, so what I'll do is I'll start the welcome safety demonstration as we start up. Leeds Bradford traffic, Skyways 284, stand 7, pushing a start, facing west.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
We are ready for pushback and engine start.
Roger. Release the parking brakes, please.
Parking brakes released.
Pushing back.
Let's turn terrain GPWS off, so we don't get that fault that we had earlier.
It is important that you pay attention and follow instructions carefully. First, check your seatbelt is securely fastened. Insert the metal tag into the buckle and tighten by pulling on the loop end.
Good grief, stock market's going absolutely crazy today.
Lift up the metal flap on the buckle and pull apart. You'll find
What's
the
he doing?
seatbelt sign in the panel above
He's
your
stuck.
head.
He still thinks I'm coming in.
You're cleared behind A. Start your engines at your discretion.
Yeah, he still thinks I'm coming
We
in.
suggest you keep your seatbelt fastened and visible during our flight, even when
So
the
starting engine
sign is
2.
off. Your life jacket is either
What I do
beside
need to do
or
actually is put
underneath your
crossfeed
seat.
on.
To use it, take it out of the container and place it over your head. Pass the tapes around your waist and tie them
securely in a double
in a
bow
double
at the
bow at the side. Inflate your life jacket when you leave the aircraft. We will supply life cots for babies and life jackets for children.
Still remember the safety demonstration off by heart.
Having to make an emergency landing, you'll be told to take the
Did it for 4 years.
But when seated facing rearwards in subworld, you must adopt this position.
Pushback complete. Set parking brakes, please.
Parking brakes set.
Roger. Okay, the tow bar is disconnected and the equipment is clear. We will see you on the right with the pin.
Thanks, and you can disconnect and go to hand signals.
Thanks. Have a good flight. See you later.
We can close Pushback Express now. Let's get rid of that. Engine 2's showing a veil.
At the rear of the aircraft and two at the front of each cabin section. Your crew will now point out the exits nearest to you.
Oh goody, some lightning.
To open the doors, move the handle in the direction of the red
Of course.
Opening the doors automatically inflates the evacuation slide.
It's odd, the sim always resets the time, so it still had us at 12 o'clock for some bizarre reason.
Onto the slide and move away from the aircraft. If the aircraft has landed on water, these slides detach to form rafts.
I'll put Unreal Weather back on again until it starts to lag, and then I'll get rid of it.
If necessary, blow into this mouthpiece to top up the air. The life jacket is fitted with a light and a whistle.
Engine 1 is a veil.
Your oxygen mask is behind
So I'll put that back to normal.
above your head. If the cabin air system should fail, this will be released. Stay in your seat and pull the mask towards you to open your supply.
And we'll start taxiing. We'll just announce where we're going to be going. We're going to hold at Alpha 1. Leeds Bradford traffic, Skyways 284 is taxiing to Alpha 1 by Alpha.
In some areas, you release the mask by
Good, that is
pulling on
recording.
this coloured
I wasn't
screen.
waste the flight.
If you're in a Clubwell sleeper seat, you may need to reach through the dividing screen.
So it's quite nice if you like flying in the sim and you want a little bit more immersion or a bit more realism. It's quite nice on the virtual airline because you can actually. Let's reset the chrono.
Store your mobile phone and any devices that can send or receive calls or text messages remain off.
It's almost like you're flying with a little bit of a purpose because you're building your hours for a reason. So at the very beginning, I was actually flying in the Cessna Caravan around New Zealand, and some stunning videos from there, flying into Mount Cook Airport and all sorts of really amazing places on the sim actually, I must say. So we're going to backtrack now in the absence of anybody calling up. So we'll get rid of that ground chart. We're going to go to Echo 1 now. Backtrack runway 32. Oh, what happened there? Leeds Bradford traffic, Skyways 284 is at backtrack runway 14 to hold at Echo 1. Make sure the strobes and everything are on, and our landing lights and everything as well. We could see the approach, there was nobody on approach. We don't want to hang around on the runway, so I'll just use a bit of throttle to kick us down to taxiway Echo. So one thing I mentioned on other videos, I didn't mention it on the way out from Gatwick actually, is during takeoff, if you look at the primary flight display, you see the crosshair, which is my input from the joystick. And actually, during the takeoff roll initially, you want to have that joystick held down ever so slightly, just so it's in that position that you can see there, until you're at about 80 to 100 knots, and at that point you slowly ease the stick back to neutral, because you want to put pressure on the nose wheel during that initial takeoff roll. Call for the crew. This is Echo 1. Can't hear anybody coming in, so we're gonna crack on. And Leeds Bradford traffic, Skyways 284 is lining up runway 14 and departing via the Pole 2 X-ray departure. Go. So I've put that stick forwards into that sort of neutral position, and got takeoff flex set. 80 knots now, so I'll just start to ease that stick back to neutral, and our V1 speed is at 138. V1, rotate.
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
Positive brake gear.
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
Oh yeah, let's just get rid of that completely, turn it off. So we're at S speed on the primary flight display, so we can go ahead and select that. Our flaps back to 0. And our lever climb's flashed, so we can bring our throttle back to the climb gate, but we can also pop our speed brake. We can disarm our spoiler speed brake. What I'm going to do is just intervene with the speed. Interestingly, not that it's doing that, so I'm just going to try and flick about on the auto throttle to see if it wakes up. Leeds traffic, Skyways 284 is airborne, passing 3,500. Try and sort out this messy open climb, I hate that so much. And because it's a tight turn, I've tried to intervene on the speed, so we're holding 220 knots currently, and now we know that we're just starting our straight line back now, effectively to Hull and then Manchester. I'll start to bring the speed back up to 250. So, go back onto our default pages for that. So we've done Gatwick to Leeds, and now we're heading Leeds to Heathrow. I think flight level was once 190. Yeah, from memory, good. And obviously our approach page is still set from before. We could clear all of those, but what I'll do is I'll just go on to vPilot. I'll get rid of LukeAirTool, just one less program to run. vPilot. .metar EGLL. Then we've got there 1220Z that was generated, so it's still a little bit out of date. So in that instance, what I'll do is I'll just go and look for METAR again, so just on Google or something, METAR, EGLL. All METSAT seems to always be updated. So this METAR was made 27 minutes ago, it says. So I won't pull that data yet. What I will do is just wait for another 5 or 6 minutes, because every 30 minutes I believe it refreshes. Now, we know at SOPIT we need to be at flight level 150. You can see that there in about 120 miles.
Line 7 Shadow Whiskey is on the left hand down in the runway 05 left, nature.
We've got the landing light off because we're passing 10,000. Just about to. Hope you're enjoying the stream so far. As I said on the way out, if you've got any questions, just let me know on the live chat. It's the first time I've actually done a stream with a back-to-back flight. First time I've done a back-to-back flight actually for I think a month and a half. We are turning now to head over Manchester, which you see in 22 nautical miles. We'll overfly Manchester Airport. And it looks like we've got Unicom for the rest of the way, so it does make it a little challenging for us because we have to decide. It's down to us to decide what heights speeds we need to fly at. Good, so we can see there on that pop-up there, that was a Speedbird 986 Golf. He's basically saying Heathrow traffic, lining up, taking off, runway 09 right, sequence number 2. So he's behind another aircraft departing, and he's saying now that he's lining up as well to depart 09 right. So we know 2 runways, 09 left will be in use for landing, as it was yesterday in our live stream we did. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, and if you're enjoying the video, click like. I think that was a couple of minutes as well, so I will look to refresh that METAR. That's still paid 30 minutes ago. Give it another minute. I'll scribble this down though, so it shouldn't be too different. Temperature's 16 degrees, pressure QNH 1019, and it's showing 150 degrees at 5 knots, so straight across crosswind for us to contend with. Broken cloud at 1,800 feet. Showers, light rain showers. 4-mile visibility and broken cloud at 1,200 feet. According to that. It's passing Manchester in 10 nautical miles. We're overflying Manchester now, actually, as you can see.
Manchester traffic line 7 Shadow Whiskey, turning left base runway 05 left, Manchester.
flyuk.aero if any of you are interested in joining this virtual airline. I've been a part of it from the very beginning of buying Microsoft Flight Simulator. I quite enjoyed it. And I actually used to fly for the airline, for the virtual airline, well, 10-15 years ago as well, on Flight Simulator X. But you know, life gets in the way, and if you don't fly once a month, it wipes your hours. And I couldn't even keep up with that at the time, so it's just one of those things. You can see already live unreal weather is eating up all my frames again. So you can see now all that jittery, all the micro stutters, everything coming back. And the minute I turn it off, I've mentioned this on the forums, the minute I turn it off, I get all of my frames back instantly. So, as good as unreal weather is, it frustrates the hell out of me because it just eats up all the frames. And it's not like I've got a weak system, I've got a fairly... I custom built the system specifically for Microsoft Flight Simulator. The weather does look better on there when it's like this though. Except for the thunder.
Manchester traffic, V-line 7
back.
Shadow Whiskey, established localizer 05 left 10 miles.
Good to see you tuning in again. You missed, I think it was good timing now, you missed the outbound leg. We flew from Gatwick to Leeds.
Manchester
We've done a turnaround.
88 Lima, 3 miles 05 left, we'll report when vacated.
We're now flying back to Heathrow Airport. All live on Vatsim, of course. Vatsim at the moment, if any of you are looking to take the plunge onto the network, they are running a like a starters program at the moment. First Wings, I think it's called, or something like that. And on certain days of the week, so for example, there was one last night through the evening. They had loads of controllers on at different airports, and it was all anchored towards new people joining the network who might be nervous or unsure on what to do. And it was basically like a big training day, so everybody could log into the network and the controllers would know you're probably new and it would be your first time, and they're trying to help as many people out as possible really, and I hope I'm doing so with these videos as well. What I do is one little tip on vPilot itself. Skyways 284, aren't we? You know what we didn't do? Change our call sign. No bother. Just reconnect with a new one, and we can refile that flight plan as is. Oh good, Heathrow Tower's just come online, and Heathrow Atis. We just pull our new flight plan in. It can't have been that bad. And you know, you've got to start somewhere as well. Let's have a little look at Heathrow Atis. Now that's on, we can actually use that data for our performance page. So, information alpha, scribble this down, info alpha. I've always got a pen and paper when I'm on Vatsim. Arrival runway 09 left, which is what we've got planned for. Transition level with flight level 70, 7,000 feet. And that's when we change from standard pressure to the local QNH. Surface wind 150 at 5.
Channel 88 Lima, clear or 05 left.
So it's a 5 knot solid crosswind there. 10 kilometres visibility or more, light showers, rain, broken clouds at 1,800 feet, temperature 16 degrees. QNH 1019. That's what ILS is for. So I'm actually getting in the habit now of only using Unreal Weather for the approach and landing, so I get the accurate weather as per the ATIS on Vatsim. In fact, I can show you guys. I did a video on it a little while ago, a sneak preview for the A32NX updates, as I'm a quality tester on their team. And what I'll do is I'll just refresh the 100 feet minimums. So what you can do now, we did it actually, we tried on the way out, but it didn't quite work. But we can do it for Gatwick, Heathrow, because we've got air traffic control on. So arrival, MCDU, EGLL in the scratch pad. We'll enter that in at the top and click send. We'll wait for our company message. There we go. Just come in now. Company message on the top screen for ECAM. So we go back to our MCDU menu, AOC menu. We click receive messages. And we've got a new ATIS message. We go ahead and click there, and it's exactly, if I bring it up to compare, it's exactly the same on vPilot. So we've got information alpha. Time at 14:50 Zulu, arrival runway 09 left, departure runway 09 right, transition level 7000 or 70, surface wind 150 at 5 knots, and we can click down or the up arrow to move the screen up. Look at that, there's our ATIS information. And I've got it set so that any Vatsim ATC that's on, I can just request the data and I get the ATIS information directly in the MCDU now, which is really cool. Yeah, well on the approach actually for Leeds, it brought us in a little bit too far to the left, and I ended up having to fly the approach manually. Because I think it was going to basically have us land on the taxiway, which is not what we want. I'm just going to boot the work tablet up because I'm technically working from home today. So we can see now Soppit, Tobid, Westcott, BNN all coming up. So let's close Leeds Bradford charts. So here we go. We've got Honolulu at the top, so we're coming in from the very top left of the screen. Passing Honolulu, and then we're flying down to Soppit. And at Soppit, we have to be at flight level 150. So just refresh my memory for the charts. We then continue down to Westcott, which is this little sort of image on our plan for the star. It's another NDB station, and then we turn towards Bother for the BNN 4 Alpha arrival, Bother 4 Alpha, which is that triangle there. So there's different holds and things which we can see, and I've been asked a lot of questions on here actually, and on the Discord for the A32NX project. There's been a lot of confusion as to how people can actually fly holds. So if, for example, we had approach on and they were going to tell us to join the hold at Bother, we would enter. So we'd fly to Bother. Change the colour again. Try and zoom right in. So we'd fly to Bother, and as we get to Bother, we'd turn right to that heading there, 318 degrees. And what tends to be the norm is we'll fly at 220 knots. So you can see actually here, box, So different airports will have different speed restrictions. For this one, it's below flight level 140, 220 knots. And that's the maximum holding speed. So I would just probably select our green dot speed of 210 or something like that. And you fly for 1 minute, a straight leg, and then you turn right again, back to heading 138 degrees. So you go right, 138 degrees, back to bother. And again, when you hit bother, you turn right again, heading 318. And then right again, you fly for a minute again. So each leg's a minute long basically, with a set speed and 2 headings to think about. And the way I do that is I just use the chronograph on the nav display. So I'll press chrono, you reset it, so I can get rid of it now, double click, and I'll then time 1 minute. You can see it counting up there. Hey flight simmer. So I'll time a minute for the hold, and then when we get to that end of that 1 minute leg, if we were flying that leg there for example, at the end of 1 minute we'd then turn right again, heading 138 degrees, and it should then also be 1 minute back to bother, and then we turn right until we're told we can exit the hold. And whilst we're holding as well, if we ever get told to hold, you could actually be told to descend further through the hold. So you could enter at the Bother hold, for the Bovingdon hold for example, at flight level 150. Then they might step you down, they might say continue, Bother hold, whatever, and they might say descend in the hold to flight level 80. So in which case you keep flying your headings for 1 minute at a time, but you also manage to descend down to whatever altitude they tell you to fly to. You can see there the absolute minimum altitude for that hold is 7,000 feet. If you look at the charts, there's hold at Daventry, use different colour, so contrast. There's a hold at Daventry, there's 2 different holds at Westcott, so they might tell you to turn left, in which case it's that dotted line, or they might tell you to turn right, in which case it's the solid line for the hold at Westcott. And it's the same at Honolulu as well. So you might be told join the hold at Honolulu, turn left for the hold, and it will give you a vector of 326 degrees. If you don't have any vectors, just fly as the charts show. And if you're not sure, just ask. Ask for vectors for your hold from the controller, and they're more than happy to help. So we know we're going to fly down to Soppit, Westcott, down to Bother, and then the next chart we need is that. So I'll just get that ready, and I'll check our progress of our slow descent down to Soppit. VOR would be on the charts, for example. Let's see. So Honolulu is a VOR, as is Daventry. On these charts as an example. So what you do is you tune your VOR on your RadNav page to that 113.65. So the Honolulu would be a VOR hold. So on the RadNav you change that VOR frequency to 113.65, and you'd put that into the top, and then you'd also use that VOR rows as well. Or you could, if you're just measuring distance for example and you don't need a radial, just flick that VOR switch across and it will give you the reading. So we're flying away from Honolulu at the moment, but if I just knock the throttle, bear with. Bovingdon I think's got a VOR. No, Lambourne's got a VOR. We're going to pass Daventry, so 1164. We're not flying to Daventry. But for the purpose of demonstration, I'll put that in. And you can see now, DTY Daventry is just on the left hand side somewhere where my cursor is. We can see we're tracking the distance from the VOR. We've left it in our nice arc mode, but we've just flicked that switch across to the VOR1. So that's what it looks like when it's off, and we flick the switch across to the right to activate that distance tracking. And we just use the chrono to time a minute per leg. So I'm going to have a quick check on here to make sure there's no Heathrow approach. There isn't. We've just got Heathrow Tower 118.5. So very shortly I'm going to 118.5. I'll announce our position once we get to Soapit. We'll be inbound Westcott from a Bovington 4 Alpha arrival, descending through flight level 150. That's all we'll say. Ah, there you go, yeah, cheers. So you can use VORs for holds, as in your question, Will, and also... John, good question. I'll show you now actually. So you go to the fuel tab, and most people it will look like this. So just grab the window, stretch it right out, and once you get wide enough, it will bring you up the aircraft diagram. If you go too small, eventually that aircraft will disappear. There we go. So you have it nice and wide, and you'll get that centre of gravity, the aircraft diagram, the centre of gravity on the top. Yeah, go for it, do it. Have a little play as well on the way. You'll do the same inbound route probably at Bovington 4 Alpha. Go on to that VOR flicky switch, and on the rad nav put the VOR in for Honolulu, and just sort of have a little look. And if you want, if you're on Unicom, there's no harm in actually flying the hold yourself, just so you get a feel for it. Just remember to stick to those speed restrictions on the charts, and time your 1 minute leg using the chrono as well. Heathrow traffic, Skyways 284, flight level 150, inbound Soppit on a Bovington 4 Alpha arrival, expecting ILS runway 09 left. So there's an aircraft overhead Logan 1 Hotel for 9 left. So if I switch here, Logan's somewhere over there, out of the way, so he's not going to be in conflict with us. But if people aren't using voice on here, what you need to be wary of is trying to read those messages as they pop up. Because I know there is an aircraft around us somewhere on the same approach, this Bovington 4 Alpha. So descent on a Bovington 4 Alpha for ILS 09 left. So he's already told us he's somewhere, it's likely he's behind us. But because we don't have TCAS properly implemented yet on the sim, we can't see him on the radar basically. If he was somewhere close, we'd have a little diamond somewhere here with a little up or down arrow telling us if he's higher or lower, etc. We can't actually see him anywhere, not even on the nav page, because we don't have proper TCAS implemented. So we're passing Westcott now, and we know after Westcott we've got Bovington, and we want to probably be about 7,000 feet around Bovington. So we'll just continue our descent down there now. We'll just check progress as we go. Once we get to Bovington, that's a VOR station, so that's 11375, and we could tune that in just so we can see how that works again. 11375 I think, wasn't it? Just double check. 11375. And we could just click VOR 1 onto on. And you can see that it's tracking. We're 20 miles now from Bovington on that VOR. Really what I want to do is start to slow us down. could, if we wanted to, go onto that VOR dial. If we set a course, for example, we would get a course reading on that VOR, but we haven't done that, so we're not going to get that. But the information we want is, especially for the holds, we want that information there. So for the Bovingdon hold, you can see there it's just quite simply, it says 1 minute. So we pass the Bovingdon VOR, turn right heading 297, we fly for 1 minute, we turn right heading 117 for 1 minute, we overfly Bovingdon again, we turn right again. We could do that as a loop. But just having a little look to see if there's a little other. So that hold there, if we get told to join the Biggin hold, 37 nautical miles from Biggin Hill. Actually, ignore that. That doesn't make sense. That's not for that. We've done them with that first chart, so we'll close that, get rid of it, and that's our next chart. Hey Don, welcome. Those of you who are new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe, most importantly, but if you're enjoying the video as well, click on the little like button, give me a thumbs up. And if you've got any questions as well, we're just finishing our full back-to-back flights. We've done Gatwick to Leeds Bradford, we've done a turnaround, we've reconfigured the MCDU for then a flight down to Heathrow. So we're just on our Bovingdon approach now. And I'll go ahead now and reselect Unreal Weather, though it's going to unsettle the autopilot quite a lot. Passing 10,000, so we will put the landing lights and everything on. And in the sim, whenever we go through any cloud or anything, it's got a tendency to throw us out quite considerably. So, in fact, what we will do, we're at 10,000 feet still. So, for the purpose of this demonstration, I will fly a hold at Bovingdon. Heathrow traffic, Skyways 284M, slightly high inbound Bovingdon, flight level 100. Going to enter the hold for one circuit. So, just announce my position. And we know we're heading 117 for the return leg, but we actually want to overfly Bovingdon first. And on my piece of paper, I'll write 297 degrees and then 117 degrees. And we got our chrono and everything ready to go as well. Bear in mind there were speed restrictions. What we'll need is wrong button. We'll need speed brake, just to slow us down. And I'm just going to put us down to minus 200 foot per minute for now, just to show you what to expect. We'll slow down to a reasonable speed for us to enter the hold. So we're 2 nautical miles from Bovingdon. From the charts, we can see that we need to overfly that. And then we turn, heading 297. Just double check before we commit to that turn. So we do 297. So this is me flying the hold now at Bovingdon. You could leave it on arc if you like, but what I like to do is I'll put it onto nav so I can see that Bovingdon VOR and we can track our distance. So we can see we're flying away from Bovingdon, our distance there is going up. Once we get to a straight heading, we then activate that chrono. So if you're just tuning in, we're just demonstrating how to fly a hold. So we're going to fly this leg here first. So So almost completing the turn. What I'll do is we can continue our descent quite nicely. We'll just do minus 1,000 foot per minute, for example. And you can see now that green, the blue, or the 30 on the nose nav dial, the blue arrow, that's our heading that we've selected, 297. So once we get to that, I'll then time, so we'll have the timer of the chrono appear on the nav display as well. So we're just reaching that now, levelling off, and we'll start the timer. Now we fly for 1 minute. So we're now flying away from Heathrow. Bovington's just down here somewhere. Heathrow's off in the distance. We're now flying the Bovington hold. Just checking VPilot again to make sure Heathrow approach hasn't come online. They haven't. And you can see on this 1 minute leg, we're halfway through now at 30 seconds.
Traffic moving landboard, heading 265.
And we're just reaching now at Ulster for 7,000 feet now. It's flight level 70, but 7,000 is the transition, so let's change to the QNH. 1 minute just now, look, so we start to turn. 117 degrees for the return. Oops, that's my fault. There we are, 117 degrees. You can see there all we've done is fly 6.5 nautical miles away from Bovington, 7 nautical miles away. And then we'll just return back to BNN. We're at 7,000 feet, so that's nice. And that's all there is to it for the holds. A lot of people panic and worry, and it's understandable because on Vatsim especially there can be quite a bit of pressure, especially if you've not flown a hold before. But as long as you've got the charts open, as we had there, as we've talked through, some of them, like this one, had a 1 minute written into it, so we know dead certain that we fly each leg for 1 minute, and that's it. So we're just flying that turn there, head back to Bovington, and then we head back to it says there BNN D5, so that's 5 miles away from Bovington, so we can still track the VOR to that. Then we turn right to Lambourne, which is 30 miles DME from Lambourne, which is that one there. We could track that as well if we want to, so we won't bother, but we could tune in 115.6 into VOR2 if we wanted to, and we could just track that. Let's see, altitude 6,000 at DME 34 for Lambourne. So we are levelling off, and if we were going to go into the hold again for another route, for another turn, we would do another 1 minute time. So we'd just start that chrono again for 1 minute, but we're not going to. And what we can do, I'll just see if the aircraft has a fit. We could go back onto managed heading. Nope, doesn't like it. So sometimes, like in this instance, the aircraft will try and take us now direct to LAM 30. But we know from looking at the charts, actually we need to fly heading 178 past Bovington, which is up to where that USR point is, that heading. The aircraft's not going to do that, so we could just do that manually. Heathrow traffic, Skyways 284, leaving Bovington at 7,000 feet, descending to 5,000 feet, expecting ILS 09 left. could do, keep our workload simple. Oh, the aircraft's already done it, lovely. So it's already activated approach face.
And speedbird, Heathrow traffic, speedbird 8 Romeo Mike, we're downwind 9 left, just beam the field on a left downwind.
Skyways 284, I've got you visual, a couple of miles on my 9 o'clock. I'm just in front of you now.
Roger, do you want to turn downwind now?
Yep, just turning myself.
Very good.
What's your speed? Just make sure I'm flying faster than yourself for distance.
I'm coming back to 220, but I'll come back less than that. I'll come back towards 18.
Okay, I'll try 240 for now.
Roger.
Heathrow traffic, speedbird 104 inbound, 12 miles from London.
So it's busy, there's no tower control, there's no approach controller on, there's just tower, so there's lots of aircraft around us. Entering the hold has probably caused the issue for this conflict, but we're managing it, so we're talking to each other, the two pilots talking to each other to get it sorted out. I'll just put it back onto managed heading. And we will continue our descent to 3000. is tower, and he'll be controlling ground as well. So we've got him ready in the standby box. So I won't tune to him just yet. We can turn that VOR tracking off. So what we'll do, we'll help him out. There's no tower. In absence of them, they would be vectoring us for IA-810. We'll go direct. Heathrow traffic, Skyways 284, just turning an early base for runway 09 left.
Perfect. And Heathrow traffic speed 8 Romeo Mike, still downwind, descending 4,000 feet, and we'll turn base behind the Skyways.
So we're just trying to help him out as much as possible, and obviously we're conscious as well, we are quite fast. So we'll start to put in some speed brake. So we're flying over Reading now, I believe, currently. Turning over for our finals, and the aircraft's doing some weird stuff. So it always tries to return itself back to its line. So the line isn't dynamic for some reason, even though it should probably be. We'll go ahead and put ILS mode on. Descend to 2,500. So we're just going to overtake the glide slope. There we are. So as long as we're below the glide slope, try and sort out
and
this.
Speedbird 8 Romeo Mike, we're left base now, runway 09 left.
And Skyways 284, just turning finals 10 miles. Tuned tower. We'll go flaps 1. We'll go to Heathrow Tower.
Sierra X-Ray Golf Victor Romeo, do you have a stand preference today?
So we're at winter now, I'm actually going to put gear down early, just to help slow us down with a bit of drag.
Sierra Victor Romeo, okay. Make a left on Alpha, right
for separation,
stand 243.
170 until we get a bit closer. Slough on the left, Windsor directly below, with Windsor Castle just ahead actually on the nose, just there. Heathrow Tower, good evening, Skyways 284M. Finals at 8 miles, 09 left, established on the ILS Information Alpha.
Skyways 284 Heathrow Tower, hello, information Charlie is current, runway 09 left, clear to land, winds variable at 1 knot.
Information Charlie, QNH 1019 and clear to land, 09 left, Skyways 284. So I tried to help him out. Interestingly, 09 left had, last time I flew into this actually, it was lined up to the left of the ILS, which is what it's doing now. We're not centre to the runway yet again. Go full flaps, get rid of the speed brake. Get that armed.
Goodbye.
We'll go water brake medium because we want to help him out.
Speedbird 227 heavy, ready for departure. Speedbird 227 via Sierra 11, runway 09 right, cleared for takeoff. Winds variable at 1 knot.
Speedbird 227 heavy, thank you.
So the livery that we're using today
Speedbird
is
662, stand 522,
flyuk.
Speedbird 662, stand 522, push and start approved.
Flyuk is a virtual airline. It's free to join, free to be a part of. And it just gives a bit more purpose, so you have set routes to fly. There's load sheets and things like that as well, if you wanted to look at load sheets and configuring the aircraft as accurately as possible, really, as if there's a bit of purpose to the sim. Flight manually for now.
1000.
I have control, as they say. And we need to set 3,000 feet for our go-around altitude, so that's ready. And because I've been playing with the heading, I'll just make sure that's set for our
Heathrow Tower, Pacific 5739, ready for push and start, in 325.
Pacific 5739, stand 325, push and start approved.
Push and start approved, Pacific 5739.
So when you're trying to help others out, as we were doing there, you can see it does get some bits do end up getting a little bit rushed. I was conscious I didn't want to cause him to go around.
People 104, fully established on ILS 09 left.
So that's that chap behind us there. So he's about 6 miles behind.
Speedbird 104 Heathrow Tower, hello, continue approach 09 left.
Continue approach 09 left.
Terminal 5A on the right hand side.
Speedbird 104, actually, are you able to make a visual switch to runway 09 right? Blocked. Speedbird 104, are you able to make a visual switch to runway 09 right?
Minimum 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
Skyways 284 is just vacating 09 left.
Skyways 284, welcome to Heathrow. Make a right on Bravo. I'll call you back.
Right on Bravo, Skyways 284. Make sure no one's coming. So Alpha is...
12 November, push and start, stand 503.
Alpha's the first turn. Oh, look at there's a Qantas.
Shuttle 12 November, stand 503, push and start approved, face east.
Shuttle 12 November.
Speedbird 104, runway 09 left, clear to land, winds variable at 1 knot.
There we are, so we've helped him out.
Land, Speedbird 104.
And Speedbird 8 Romeo Mike, still with you. Speedbird 8 Romeo Mike, Heathrow Tower, hello, go around, I say again, go around, acknowledge. Go around, Speedbird 8 Romeo Mike. Skyways 284, taxi Bravo Delta, stand 564.
Taxi Bravo Delta, stand 564, Skyways 284.
Speedbird 662, request taxi.
Speedbird 662, taxi Yankee, hold November Bravo 11, from November Bravo 11, runway 09 right, cleared for takeoff, winds right, not.
Taxi via Yankee, via Bravo 11, Jordan, and clear for takeoff, Speedbird 662, thank you.
Heathrow Tower, Shuttle 8 Foxtrot, stand 513, fully ready.
Shuttle 8 Foxtrot, stand 513, push and start approved, face south.
Push and start approved, facing south, Shuttle 8 Foxtrot.
Speedbird 8 Romeo Mike, monitor Unicom 1228. You can call back when you're on the approach again. 122, see you later.
This is an aircraft.
27, we'll catch you next time, have a good night.
They got told to go around.
Good evening.
And I'm not sure I put bleed on. It wasn't available. I'm not sure why, but it appears there wasn't enough distance between ourselves and him on the approach. It's nice to see that Qantas there. So my model matching tool does work for the Dreamliners. So we're on Bravo. Normally we get told to taxi right on Alpha, which is on the right hand side, and then we head down. But in this instance we got Bravo, which is quite cool, nice, different. Who's this coming down? Dreamliner. No livery, unfortunately. So, Delta is just after the fuel farm. APU's available on the ECAM there. We turned ground proximity warning system off because of all the issues we had earlier with the bugs.
Speedbird 104, welcome to Heathrow, second right Bravo, Charlie, stand 557.
Bravo, second Charlie, and stand 557, Speedbird 104.
Oh good, so the guy that was flying in behind us did...
Tower Pacific 5739, ready for taxi.
He did get in, that was him landing there. So we worked that quite nicely, just cut a little corner.
5739, second left, Echo, hold Echo 1.
Pushed the speed quite a bit, but it helped him out because he managed to get down
second
on the ground.
Echo and hold
without
Echo
us,
1 for the
being too close. 6-4's just in the middle of Terminal 5.
All stations, Heathrow broadcast information Delta, low visibility procedures are in force.
Yeah, low vis. So that's increased.
Heathrow Tower, this is Speedbird 145, fully established ILS 09 left. Information, I will be getting Delta in a second.
Increased separation between aircraft,
Speedbird
things like that.
145, Heathrow Tower, hello, runway 09 left, clear to land, winds variable at 1 knot.
Clear to land 09 left, Speedbird 145.
Well, I hope you found it useful. It's been quite a long
Hello,
live stream
good
actually.
evening to you, sir. Speedbird 118, correction, Speedbird 13 Delta, radio check.
And we've crammed in 2
Speedbird
flights.
13 Delta, Heathrow Tower, hello, loud and clear.
And 3
I don't have a flight
airports.
plan for you at the moment.
So I hope you've enjoyed it.
Finally one now, please, sir.
Again, if you're new, make sure you click that subscribe button as well. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. So just after these yellow dollies, we'll turn in that stand 564. So there we go. We've covered how to configure a MCDU for a return journey, and we've also looked at actually flying the hold as well. I was going to say, where's the yellow line? It's just there.
Speedbird 662, contact London Control 132.6. Goodbye.
London Control 132.6, Red 662, good day.
Bit of throttle. Get that wheel free. If you haven't already, and you're sort of
Pacific
catching up with the
5739,
A3220
second
project,
right Alpha,
then
link
you can go
52,
to
hold November 11.
their Discord, or you can go to flybywiresim.com.
Second right on
and,
Alpha, link 5.
they'll have links to their Discord and things on there for you guys. So if you're interested and you've not yet got the A32NX, which has got all of these extra functions in place, then be sure to download it. And be sure to join their Discord as well. flyuk.aero for the virtual airline. Just completing, that's the second flight today with them, counting towards my hours. And it is really enjoyable, especially people don't like starting with the Cessna Caravans, but the scenic flights around New Zealand were amazing, so I actually quite enjoyed that.
56 Alpha, hold DASA.
There we go.
Link 56 Alpha, hold DASA, hold 12 November.
Pop those engines off, and if we wanted to, we could start Pushback Express again.
Heathrow Tower, Shuttle 8 Foxtrot, ready for taxi.
And we can connect the air bridge.
Shuttle 8 Foxtrot, taxi Alpha, hold DASA.
And there we go, folks. Thank you for everybody for tuning in. Some of you, I think, have been watching from the very beginning, so hope you enjoyed it, found it useful. Be sure to tune in for another live stream at some point in the next few days as well. Check out my,
you need a clearance first. Report ready to copy.
Check out all my tutorials as well on the playlists for those of you who might be interested in starting on Vatsim. See you all again very soon for another one.
Spibird 145, welcome to Heathrow.